is making a comeback in Montana, targeting a specific group of people. Good evening and thanks for joining us on your Sunday night. First at 10, a car went up in flames this evening in a residential neighborhood tonight, and luckily no one was injured. The Subaru caught fire around 7 this evening. Fire crews quickly extinguished the blaze, which was primarily contained to the front of the car. Officials say the driver reported a funny smell while driving the car and pulled over near a friend's house to call her mom. In the time she was inside, the car went up in flames. Fire crews are still unsure what sparked the blaze, but are pleased to say no one was in the vehicle or injured during the incident. Great Falls police are investigating a break-in at the Boys and Girls Club after the Cascade County Sheriff's Office found one of their vans deserted in town. Club staff went to the building hoping to find clues of the theft, but found the place ransacked. MTN's Tara Grimes has the story.
They broke in this door here, which is out of sight. It's actually into the basement itself.
The story of this break-in begins in an unlikely place. The Cascade County Sheriff's Office called the Boys and Girls Club after finding one of its vans off of Stuckey Road.
We were notified a van had been stolen. I was told when I got here that all the keys to the vans were also taken. We were able to recover one set of keys with the van.
And when staff arrived at the club Sunday morning to find out more, they found this.
They broke into all the cabinets in here looking for, I assume, money or whatever.
Office supplies, kids' toys, and other items scattered everywhere. Gone was the club's video game consoles and games, hundreds of dollars in cash, and the sense of normalcy in the building.
My stomach just turned. What a tragedy to walk in and see that someone could do this, and it directly affects the kids, you know, not just our staff, but the kids. It's devastating.
It's a pretty big hit to morale, being a nonprofit, and for kids to think that anybody would do something like this.
The thief or thieves used the club's own tools to break into the main offices, taking one of the doors completely off the hinges, making sure they broke into every lock possible, and also drank Dr. Pepper in the kitchen along the way.
It's sickening. Especially right before the holidays.
And while the club cleans up the mess, Davis and Smith hope the police are able to catch whomever brought this upon not only them, but their kids as well. In Great Falls, Tara Grimes, MTN News.
Anyone with any information is asked to call the Great Falls Police Department. If you'd like to help the club, you can call them directly at 761-1330. They will reopen on Wednesday. Snow is starting to move into our area tonight, and holiday travelers will face tricky driving conditions tomorrow. Storm Tracker meteorologist Mike Rollins joins us with the latest advisories. Mike?
Jen, winter weather advisories are in effect right now for most of the Treasure State until 9 o'clock tomorrow. Check out everywhere you see here in purple. We'll be looking at delays on the roads and also that snow coming down. Live Storm Tracker Doppler radar right now not showing a whole lot going on east of the Rockies, but you move out toward Missoula right now and even down toward southern Lewis and Clark County. We're starting to see a light band of snow move in. Now, I haven't seen many reports of the snow making it to the ground just yet, but we will start to see the snow starting to come down as we move into the overnight hours. I'll show you how much snow you can expect for Christmas Eve coming up.
All right, thanks, Mike. The Lewis and Clark County Sheriff is doing his part to make sure Montana invests in the next generation, in turn lowering the crime rate. Sheriff Leo Dutton recently took a trip to Washington, D.C. and met with Montana's leaders, hoping to prevent crime by investing more in children. The program is called Fight Crime, Invest in Kids, and the purpose is to lobby and ask the Senate and Congress to extend the child tax credit. In Montana, over 70,000 households applied for the child tax credit. That tax credit is up to $1,000 per child. In Montana, 1 in 6 children are said to live in poverty. Studies show that children living in poverty are 2.5 times more likely to commit violent crimes.
It's lobbying for working families who don't really have a voice. That's what felt good about it, is these people don't really have a lot of money, but they can get a tax break, but if you're not working, you can't get it.
Sheriff Dutton said that Senators Baucus and Tester were fully in support of extending the child tax credit. A woman in the Montana Department of Corrections walked away from the Passages Women's Program in Billings yesterday and hasn't returned. Michelle Peterson left Passages around 5 yesterday evening. She arrived at Passages on August 21st after receiving a sentence for criminal possession of dangerous drugs in Lewis and Clark County. The DOC says she is considered dangerous and she faces a 10-year sentence for felony escape. 26-year-old Peterson is 5'7" and weighs 130 pounds with brown hair and blue eyes. The DOC asked people to not approach her, but contact law enforcement with any information regarding her whereabouts. A car accident blocks both southbound and northbound lanes on Highway 93 last night. We start tonight's Montana Minute with the Missoula mayhem. Around 8:30 Saturday, officers with Missoula City Police say a 51-year-old woman drove through a stoplight and hit two other vehicles on the busy stretch of highway. Minor injuries were reported in the three-vehicle accident. Officials are still investigating the crash, but the woman who caused the accident was arrested for suspicion of driving while intoxicated. Bozeman has been selected as a finalist in Powder Magazine's online competition to award the best ski town. The contest began with 32 towns and now down to Bozeman and Roslyn Nelson, British Columbia. The last chance to vote is on Monday, and Bozeman is currently behind by 900 votes. Last-minute shoppers are out in full force, plaguing retail stores with crowded parking lots and busy aisles. Billings Walmart store manager says it's been a great weekend with lots of people, with Saturday being the busiest so far. Stores expect Monday to be full of shoppers trying to cross the last few items off their list. Christmas traditions and decorations can actually help mule deer. In this week's Outdoor Report, Winston Greeley shows us how.
Many people view cutting down a live Christmas tree will harm wildlife. But this year, Montanans have the opportunity to harvest a tree from a portion of Mount Hagen Wildlife Management Area, and it will benefit mule deer.
So what we're trying to do here is to push back some of the expansion of the Doug fir so that there's not a competition with bitter brush.
During the winter, mule deer rely on shrubs for nourishment, and where it occurs, the bitter brush is an important food source for wintering mule deer. But on Mount Hagen, fir trees are invading these bitter brush communities.
Here's a skeleton of a dead bitter brush. The Doug fir grew up over top of it, shaded it out, and then the bitter brush dies off.
By removing these trees, managers hope to improve this key food source, which is one component in maintaining a healthy mule deer population.
If you're making sure that your habitat has the components that a deer needs for survival, then it's only going to help the populations.
Wildlife managers plan to allow Christmas tree harvest in the future and hope families know while they enjoy their tree during the holidays, it will be cherished by others as well. Winston Greeley, happy holidays among Montana's fish, wildlife, and parks.
Mount Hagen Wildlife Management Area is closed until May 15th. Our four-legged friends haven't been forgotten this holiday season thanks to pet-friendly organizations hoping to make a difference. Petco and Pet Posse teamed up this weekend to give out cat and dog food, toys, and other items to those in need. Although public donations were down from last year, volunteers say Petco stepped up to fill the gap, and nearly 150 families received gifts from the event. Families did have to bring proof of a Medicaid card or low-income housing card to receive any items. Montana seniors lost $68,000 in 2010 in what the Department of Justice calls the grandparent scam. Shannon Davis caught up with a Montanan who was contacted by the scammers and tells us how you can avoid being caught in the scam.
I mean, I felt almost stupid because you don't realize that there's stuff like this going on, even though you hear about it. You kind of, well, that'll never happen to me.
In 2010, grandparent scams became a problem across the nation. In Montana, one couple lost more than $6,000 wiring money to bail out their granddaughter who was supposedly incarcerated in Spain.
There's many different varieties of how they manage to get the money out of you, but I usually say, don't tell my mom, don't tell mom and dad, because they don't want you to check.
Grandpa, me and a girlfriend went to work as stewardesses, and we went to Niagara Falls and rented a car, and we got to partying some, and we wrecked the car. And she says, I'm in jail.
If you thought about it, you would know where your grandchildren are. But they start off with a very emotional story, telling you, I'm detained, I'm in trouble. So automatically you begin to worry. Hanlon was instructed to call an attorney. The attorney asked for $900 for the release of his granddaughter. Suspicious, he checked for a record of his granddaughter in Niagara Falls. Seeing no record, he called her cell phone and discovered she was safe at home.
Attorney calls me back again and wanted to know if I had had any luck, and I says, yes, I did have luck. I found out you guys are nothing but a scam.
Prosecuting this crime is very difficult, if not impossible.
I'm actually not aware of a prosecution in Montana, only because your only connection to these people is this phone number, and as soon as they know that you're onto them, it's disconnected.
They're called grandparent scams because people under 40 typically don't have landlines. These scammers will keep calling until they get someone who falls for it. There are two things you should remember when someone asks you to wire money. Always double check the story, even if you think you know where the money is going. Do not wire money to someone you don't know. Once the money has been sent, you can't get it back. In Butte, I'm Shannon Davis, NTN News.
Some of the more traditional songs of the holidays are paired with biblical lessons today, making a perfect harmony. In the spirit of Christmas, the Cathedral of St. Helena Choir put on a historical concert. Familiar Christmas stories are woven together with famous carols. The style of concert dates back to the founding of the Catholic Church before major festivities like Easter, until it was slightly revised in the 1890s.
This whole idea of reading the beginning of the Christmas story, that is starting with Genesis through the Bible, through the prophets, and up until we come to the four Gospels where we actually have the Christmas story. Now, that format has remained ever since.
The choir is made up of children and adults. They have recently received the distinction of being voted the best church choir in Helena. Congratulations to them, and it's probably a good thing they were inside. It's a little chilly to be out there singing or doing anything, really.
Yeah, very cold everywhere you go all across the area, and it's not going to change as we move into Christmas Eve. We're going to add some snow to it. Check out your Christmas Eve forecast. Temperatures are going to be very cold all across north central Montana, all across the state. 7 degrees for a high temperature. Periods of light to